Mr.
Bond.
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 Bond. James Bond.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Ultimate Bondcast. Really exciting episode, actually. I'm Chris, and you're here, as always, with Mike. How are you, Mike?
Hi, guys. I'm very well. Chris, yourself? Well done.
Yeah, really good, really good. I'm really excited for this. Even more importantly, we are here with the wonderful David Lowbridge-Ellis from License to Queer. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, guys. Nice to see you again. Virtually this time. Our first meeting was in person.
It was.
That's kind of what inspired this in the first place. We met, didn't we, at the Mockingbird Cinema in Birmingham?
It's usually the other way around. I meet people online. Like, I started doing my stuff on License to Queer about 6 years ago in the middle of, like, the first lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Met all these people in real life. So it's actually nice to do it the other way around for a change.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It feels like every person we speak to started doing this sort of thing in the first lockdown as well. We are so behind the times. But
I think we've identified that the Bond community is just absolutely wonderful. It's not competitive. It's a shared love, and that's the great thing about it.
Yeah, you're totally right. I've loved meeting loads of people from the Bond community. I guess when we first turned up at the Mockingbird Cinema as well, I don't think we had any idea what the Bond community was like. We were so in a little bubble, just started doing this little podcast, and it's sort of exploded over the last few months. So that's amazing. So thank you so much for being here today to talk about A View to a Kill, which is...
My pleasure. I don't need an excuse to talk about A View to a Kill. I mean, I am wearing the exact same hoodie as when you met me.
Yes.
So by request, I managed to dig this out of the garage, and I haven't worn it since last October or whenever. So I don't wear this every day when I get home from work.
How are you not wearing that weekly? I can't believe it.
I wear it to bed.
Do you know, I remember you and Anthony wearing out the front seat, and I'm just like, I have to get a picture with those guys. That's so quirky. You know?
Classy, isn't it? So classy. Just keep me away from naked flames, because I could go up at any minute.
I love it. Well, look, before we get stuck into the film, we always look at the week's news. So, Mike, can I throw it over to you for the news?
Should we go to the other studio? Have a look.
Let's do it.
Let's go for it. And there we go. We're back in the studio, Chris, aren't we?
This is so psychedelic, this.
Oh, we've got some interference as well.
Sorry. Hey, that's my phone going off. Apologies. There we go.
You're a busy man, David. Don't worry.
My phone.
But yeah, Bond news. Been a fair bit going on since we last on the air, which is only 3 days ago, Chris. Would you believe it? For First Light. But yeah, a few things happening, including First Light news. I suppose it's logical to ask, David, have you been playing First Light yet?
Yeah, I think I'm about 40% of the way through. So I'm taking it slowly. I know some people are racing the story to avoid spoilers, so I'm just trying not to see social media much. But,
social media is littered with everything about it right now. It's hard to avoid it. But you'll be pleased to know, guys, when you do finish the game, because Chris is still very close to the end as well.
I'm playing it as well. I'm taking my time.
The support is going to continue for years to come. IO have confirmed that there will be a further 2 games to follow in the 007 First Light trilogy, which will be including Mr. Gibson as 007. So I think that's nothing but great news. But we will find that the support goes beyond that. We get more and more what we call tax-in contracts, which are a bit similar to the way it was in Hitman. So you can play sort of off the canon storyline and compete for challenges, suits, cosmetics. It just sounds like a really exciting thing on the horizon.
So is that in First Light then? So there'll be more contracts, and so it's like downloadable content for First Light?
Yeah, if it's anything like Hitman, they supported the first game for like 3 years before the next game came out, and it just grew and grew. So one thing I have got a lot of faith in is IO Interactive. They're a brilliant developer. So hopefully more and more of that to come over the years for us.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't use some of the previous Bond missions and put back Bond in those. Although I think some people have a bit of a sour aftertaste after 007 Legends, so maybe that might be best avoided. We'll see.
There is a bit of reluctance with Bond games because we missed the good ones, i.e. like Everything or Nothing, GoldenEye, but then there is some weaker entries that the more recent ones, and then they're sort of badly ingrained in our memories, aren't they?
This is totally different, though. I love this game so much. So I'm really excited for anything else that they bring out for First Light.
Best studio, in my opinion, that could have possibly made a Bond game. So,
Well, you're a massive Hitman fan, aren't you? So,
I've been playing Hitman since the PS2 days. So, yeah, absolutely.
fair enough.
But guys, we have a potential Bond actor on our horizon as well. So we know Gibson's in the game, but in terms of movies, there's been a name dropped out of Tom Francis, guys, in the press. So this is not really particularly big in the screen, but he is very big in the sort of West End in terms of Broadway, the Palladium, and stuff as well. So I've put a little bit of what he's been in, just to give you an idea of some of the shows he's been in. But he's not big to the screen, but this would not be uncommon, would it, to make a relatively unknown actor the new Bond? So do we know Tom Francis, first of all? I don't know him a lot.
No, I don't. I do keep saying, though, that I want the Bond actor to be basically not someone we know. Someone, when it's announced, people go, huh? So he sort of fits the bill. I know there is a kind of Bond connection-ish, loosely, because Sunset Boulevard, I believe the lyrics for that show were written by Don Black. So,
right.
That's probably the only thing I can connect him with in terms of Bond.
It is. I think he looks the part. He's young. They want someone who's going to go for a good 10, 15 years as Bond. So, yeah, I mean, realistically, why not? And I agree.
Above all, I don't think for me, the looks of Bond don't matter as much as can the guy act. I think Daniel Craig raised the bar, and I'm not saying the previous incumbents of the role weren't great actors, but I think Daniel Craig raised the bar and expectation in terms of Bond actually being played by a good actor, to the point that it has to be somebody that can actually pull off the complexity of James Bond.
Yeah. Well, Carl in the chat on Facebook has just agreed with you, David, as well, saying an unknown actor would make a great name for themselves. So, agreed. If it's the right guy rather than the right publicity, why not, frankly? So, but yeah, who knows? We might be seeing that around the corner. Chris, Bond 26 had an update as well. Very small update. But we've got a little bit from Stephen Knight, who is our Peaky Blinders writer, responsible for the film. So there's a little look at some information here. There's two slides. I'll go for the first one if you want to go for the second one. Is that all right for you?
Yeah.
Just to understand what he's trying to create in his world, his version of Bond. So he said the next series of James Bond can see a radical reimagination iteration of the character from screenwriter Stephen Knight that will break the traditional law. So up until Daniel Craig's casting, the series had parachuted in new actors and had already established experienced double O's. Continuity was there, but not really front and centre. When it came to 2005, we obviously went to the idea of seeing Bond's origin, hence Casino Royale. So on the subject of Bond 26, he is implying that he's actually looking into the way that people in the SAS were trained. He's actually looking at their actual real-life training. So does that heat to possibly a prequel route? Do we need another prequel? I don't know.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'll give my thoughts in a moment. I will read this second slide for you, Mike. So he says, I am talking to them about what they do every day. It's all real. Ian Fleming was living that life. In the war, he was doing those things. He knew people doing that stuff, going out there and killing people. He was such a great writer. To be a writer, you have got to know about people. So Bond's original backstory was of a commander in the Royal Navy, and when Craig was cast, this was updated to being from the SBS, the Special Boat Service, the elite maritime special forces unit of the Royal Navy. Knight's reference to the SAS may give clues as to where they might be taking him next. According to Knight, Amazon MGM has given him a license to reinvent the character. Bond has been bulletproof. People have been able to make mistakes and variations, quite elaborate variations, and the character has survived because the core of it is like a diamond. You can't touch it. The person you are talking about is folklore.
And Bond does fit that legendary status. He's in that world, isn't he? Of, Robin Hood, Sherlock Holmes. There are key ingredients. I've got no issue with a reinventing. I'm just wondering about him straying too far. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think for me, sorry, go on, David.
No, you go, Chris. You go.
All I was going to say was I don't know if I want. I mean, I don't mind at the end of the day, but I don't know if I want a prequel. Going like we've just had First Light. I don't know if 2 years later I want to consume another Bond prequel. And with Daniel Craig, it kind of felt like a little bit of a prequel, a little bit of a reboot origin story there. So I feel like I'd be happy with it just starting with him being young, but being 007 already.
Yeah, we don't really have to go about how did he become Bond, what did he learn, all that. Like we've seen it twice in fairly recent years. So, I mean, look, if it's done well, fair enough. I might eat my own words, but my worry is he's going to go in a slightly wrong direction that we've already gone over quite recently.
I've got faith in him. What were you going to say, David? Sorry, before I interrupted you.
Yeah, I feel like we have seen it in Casino Royale. Admittedly, that was 20 years ago, and then we had it really recently in First Light. I must admit, playing First Light, I do feel like, I think this is probably where I thought the movie was going to go. And I'm not sure that there's enough space now to be able to do that. Having said that, I do have faith in Stephen Knight, and I'm not just saying that because he's essentially from my home city. So, you know,
you're not biased then.
I mean, I did actually have the privilege of meeting Stephen Knight about 3 months ago, and I did preface it with, I'm a huge Peaky Blinders fan. Who was at the Peaky Blinders premiere, but
me too. Yeah,
but I'm also a massive Bond fan. I'm not going to talk about Bond because I know you can't talk about Bond, and we had a nice little chat. But what he said about Bond, the best thing I think that Stephen Knight said is Bond being a myth. And this is an idea that goes right back to Fleming, particularly in From Russia with Love. There's a whole interrogation of that idea. And I recently had the pleasure of talking with Kim Sherwood in some detail about this as well. So shameless plug for the video on my Instagram at the moment.
I can't wait to read Hurricane Room as well. So
read Hurricane Room, then watch the chat that I had with Kim.
Okay, we'll do.
It's totally spoilerific. It's spoilerful. So, but we do talk about Bond as myth. And it's not a new idea, but I love the idea that Stephen Knight is running with that and thinking about how he becomes a modern British myth. And I think Stephen Knight also will lean into the Britishness of it. This is all pure speculation, by the way. I sort of hate all the tabloid headlines at the moment, which are taking about 5 words that someone has said and spinning this speculative story. But my hopes for the next Bond film are that it leans into the Britishness of the character and the heritage of that, and that even goes down to the kind of post-colonial locations and everything that the complexity, the problematic side of being British. I really think he's going to lean into that and how myths are created. So
I think in terms of
more interested in the writer of the next Bond film than the actor.
Yeah. In terms of Britishness, I think the tone of Skyfall fits quite well with that. And I'd like to see something where they were very proud of London and our heritage. And we had the bulldog, didn't we, from M's office with the British flag on it. I think little bits like that will be quite nice nods in the next movie.
This is where I alienate half the audience, though. I actually don't like Skyfall because it leans into the nostalgia of the character. I think you can do the creation of a myth without leaning into nostalgia. I think Bond always needs to look forward. Whereas the problem is with Skyfall, after Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, it starts looking backwards too much. So I want to have my cake and eat it, basically, like most Bond fans.
If you've been around for 60 years, you have to stay current, don't you? That's the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you were saying about when you were talking about creating a myth as well, he did that so well with Tommy Shelby. Creating this larger than life character that almost doesn't feel human and it feels invincible, I guess. And he did that so well with that character from nothing that I have full faith in him being able to.
He's obviously carrying
a story for Bond. He's
obviously carrying respect for these literary characters that are built, aren't they? But hey, for now, guys, that is Bond news.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. So I guess we're going to get into the main story then, which is View to a Kill. And I'm really excited about this because I think my love of View to a Kill really, really came out of that screening with The Mockingbird, because I think it was one of those films that I think I thought I didn't like, from when I was a kid. It was one of those Roger Moore movies that maybe I'd written off, and I was so glad that we got to revisit it because I really, really enjoy this movie. But I mean, I know that you're a massive fan of it, David, so I want to throw it over to you first. What does View to a Kill mean to you? If you can, it's such a big thing to ask, but
it's a huge thing.
What's your initial thoughts of this movie?
I think the best thing to say about View to a Kill is that objectively, I'm not sure it's a great film. In fact, I've had a couple of conversations with John Glenn about this himself, the director, and even he says it's not one of his favourite the films he's directed. He sees all the flaws in it, but And you can see all the flaws, and you can view it on any kind of by any objective standard, but it's just so enjoyable. If there's a Bond movie we're going to watch, my husband and me, on a Friday night, it's either Tomorrow Never Dies or it's A View to a Kill. For us, they hit all of the marks for Bond, and they've got such a varying tone to them, both of those films, especially View to a Kill. You go from quite a gnarly action sequence, where you escape a Russian facility, to snowboarding to a cover of the Beach Boys, to getting on board an iceberg, and then you've got horrible deaths in this film, like the KGB agent being chopped into pieces.
The tone shift is so wide in A View to a Kill
as well.
Yeah.
It go. I mean, all Bond films have tonal shifts, but View to a Kill is something else. And I think it's that mix. I think it has everything in there. It is really funny, but really horrible at the same time. And it feels kind of weird. And I always feel like the best Bond films always have to feel a little bit bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, I actually agree with you on that, David, and you as well, Chris, because if you think about it, right, I was with you when we saw this film at the Mockingbird. Previous to that, I'd seen A View to a Kill a billion times in my life, and I kind of looked at it with a slightly more negative approach to it. It was the last Roger Moore movie. It was sort of weaker in certain ways. That was sort of the perception that was brought across, and I think it's quite a wide perception. However, when I watched it again, and I had an audience around me, tone shift was apparent straight away, but I forgot how funny at times that film is, how entertaining it is, and actually how Roger Moore. People can say he shouldn't have been in this film. No, he was actually still really, really good in A View to a Kill. So I totally changed my opinion from thinking, it's just got a good theme tune, that's about all that's good about it. So actually, I've totally rethought my opinion. And when we do a rating later, I think you'd be quite surprised, Chris, as well.
I'm excited, mate. I'm excited. Like when you talk about Roger Moore, I don't know if there's any Bond actor that is as consistent as Roger Moore is. I feel like there is no. I don't think you can point to a single Moore performance and him not have given 100% to this role. I really, I love Roger Moore as Bond, and I know that people say he's too old in this film, and you can see the age on screen, but like it doesn't change how invested I am in watching Roger Moore play James Bond. And I love that. Is it worth talking a little bit about Moore right now then? How do we feel his performances in this film? Because he deals with some really serious moments in this one, as well as some really funny lines and some I guess silly moments, but he hits some serious beats in this film.
I think he does. I mean, I'll say first of all, you're right. He's always consistent Bond. I think when you watch a Roger Moore movie, because he was such a sort of accomplished actor before Bond, you kind of knew what you were getting from him when he comes onto the screen, and you expect that quality to be repeated. Yes, he gets stronger over the years, absolutely. But the reality is there is consistency within Roger Moore. I don't think there is any Bond out there that is more sort of cool under pressure than Moore, who can almost throw a quip out and have the audience laughing as loudly as possible. Then you can argue like Brosnan did it and all that lot, but Moore was one of the originals. He edged into territory that Connery didn't, if that makes sense. And I think now we're on the last movie of Roger Moore, which we've done all the chronological walkthroughs. Sorry, it's really, I don't know, it's enlightening to see that I've enjoyed his movies so much more than no pun intended, that I thought I was going to. And it's almost sad that that era is over now,
I think the thing with Roger Moore that I most love is that he was always very self-deprecating about his own acting ability. And he always really enjoyed being the Bond incumbent. And after he'd finished, he talked very positively about it. So for that, Roger Moore always has a soft spot. The only thing that's inconsistent about Roger Moore, I suppose, is, and I always find it quite distracting, A View to a Kill, he's missing the mole on his face because he'd had some facial surgery to have it removed. I actually think it was a mistake. I think it actually made him more handsome, to be honest. I've never fancied a Bond actor for the record. As I say,
yeah.
I don't care what James Bond looks like. I really don't care. I'm more interested in the words that come out of his mouth and his actions. But I think it does take some skill to be able to vacillate between a scene which is incredibly silly and then something really serious and sell it. And I think Moore does that brilliantly.
I think as an undercarriage, I've thought that Moore's just a comedy, goofy, light-hearted Bond. But there's been so many moments in his films that we've noticed watching them again, where he does play the cold, more serious, dedicated Bond. And yeah, I think it's just a general wrong perception that people have when they think Roger Moore's the lighter Bond.
What's the scene when he confronts Zorin, or Zorin confronts him in the office of the mayor in San Francisco,
in the town hall? He
tells Stacey, basically don't waste your time, Stacey, he's a psychotic. And you can actually see the rage on his face. And I love seeing those moments with Roger, because it's almost like that was Daniel Craig's dominant setting. That was the default. But for Roger, it's not. But when it cracks through, I think it's really special.
Somebody that bad that cracks that anger out of him. You don't often see that, do we?
He does it as well when after he's ridden the horse, and he sees the dead Sir Godfrey in the car, and he turns to Zora and he says, "Killing Tibbet was a mistake." And you really see the contained rage in that moment. And God, I love that. I love that scene. I love that line delivery as well, because it's really dark.
The whole I'm about to make the same mistake twice, and all that.
Threat behind what he said.
I genuinely think, that there was probably the best screen presence. The biggest attribute of this movie is Moore versus Walken. It's such a good play on their characteristics. I mean, we know Christopher Walken in his own right is a bit of a strange, eccentric man in real life, of course. And to make him a Bond villain was just, it was on the cards, wasn't it? It had to happen.
So let's talk a little bit about the villain then, like Max Zorin. I love the sort of psychotic, creepy villain that we get from Chris Walken's character. What do you think of it, Mike?
Like I said, he is in his own right. Walken is a slightly eccentric man in his own life, and I think he's got three things that really come to light in this movie. One, his psychotic nature. He plays into that extremely well. Second is his physical presence. He is a threatening villain. He's an ex-KGB agent that's gone somewhat rogue. And the other part that comes out is the fact that he doesn't create love, hence being a psychopath. He will flick between women and allegiances all the time. His only allegiance is his. And that really comes out. So I think at the moment when he was shooting all the guys, when Project Main Strike was happening, and the absolute chaos in that guy's eyes.
It was crazy. It's a really, really dark scene.
It almost turns into something of a horror in a strange way, but I think he's a sort of actor that can do that. So it's not the one that in your head you think of Goldfinger and all that lot, but he is a strong villain, very strong villain, in my opinion.
And let's not forget that he's one of the few villains to actually have a kind of follow-on. So he played the video game Everything or Nothing. Spoiler alert.
Yes. Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's character is actually an acolyte. He was restored by Max Zorin, which I think was a really cool idea, but really random for them to do with a video game featuring. You wouldn't think of A View to a Kill being a follow-on film, would you, initially, for a game? But yeah, I agree. And we only just played that not too long ago on the channel, David, if you caught it. And yeah, to hear that line revisited, he killed my mentor, Max Zorin. I was like, oh my God, People think that it's a new phenomenon to cast Oscar-winning actors in Bond films, but you've got to remember that Christopher Walken already had an Oscar under his belt at the point. And I do remember some very sniffy reviews of A View to a Kill that I read when I was a kid, saying from the time, saying that he was almost like slumming it in a Bond film. That his talent was wasted.
Far from it, I think.
Incredibly condescending thing to say about the Bond series, especially now we have had so many award-winning actors in those films. I think he's genuinely creepy in so many scenes here. He really does get under your skin. And the scene I always think of is the one where he actually identifies Bond and he's there sat at the computer in the office.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And And that scene, essentially, Bond is fairly safe in that environment, but he makes that
Yeah.
scene seem quite creepy and eerie.
Even the little twigs, like he goes, "Oh, it descended from that horse there," made him turn his head to get the side profile, and it was so calculated, so calculated. And Bond had no idea, absolutely not a clue. He was sussing him out.
And I don't want to go too much into the ending right now, but there's one moment that like I just love the little laugh he gives when he realizes he's going to die. Even then he's still you know, he just sort of it's just such a great moment.
It's almost like hilariousness that if I don't laugh, I'll cry.
How have I lost? It's like
and he lost everything, didn't he? The balloon's gone, his instruments are gone, and all that. He's lost the love of his life, who supposedly he loved the woman there, but it is a really, really good villain. I think as well, Dave, the other one somebody that tried to echo him in image as well would have been Raul Silva, hence this guy for the blonde hair. I think that's one thing that Javier Bardem did actually use. He liked the blonde hair look. So I think you're right. His character has lived on in certain ways.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess if we've gone from the villain, we could talk a little bit about the girls in the movie as well. I guess we start with Mayday, who works so closely with Max Zara and Grace Jones. I found her to be, I think when I was young, I found her a bit, I don't know, maybe a bit annoying because she was so angry all of the time in the movie. But like, I find her such an interesting character in this film, especially that she has such a great arc in this movie that I guess I don't see a lot with the Bond girls in this movie. She's kind of the femme fatale that really does come good at the end, but I guess she almost does that out of spite as well, because Zoran abandoned her. But I find her so like unpredictable on screen, and I think that's something that I love. She's
quite menacing.
All the scenery, yeah, she is menacing, and she just gives everything when she's on screen, and she's bonkers, and I love her.
I think you're right there, Chris. Can I ask you guys a question? A serious question about Mayday. How is she so strong?
That's a good question. I think it's interesting that a lot of the initial posters for and including the first VHS copy I ever owned. Yes, I'm that old. I had a VHS copy of A View to a Kill. But the first VHS copy actually had the poster with her and Bond back to back, and it was has James Bond finally met his match, almost positioning her as the main villain of the story, which I find interesting. I always interpret her strength down to some kind of genetic manipulation or something, steroids or something like that. There's even that line about she takes her vitamins at the horse race.
Cute.
Supposed to be almost taking some kind of performance-enhancing drugs as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the funny thing is that Grace Jones herself said that she wasn't actually that kind of strong and she had to act that way. So she's got a great physique, but she actually didn't feel anywhere near that strong.
I agree.
These are all the magic of movies. The thing I really like the Mayday character, especially when she turns good, because and essentially you get the feeling that she was, and there are hints of this throughout the whole film, that she was in love with Zorin, genuinely in love with Zorin.
She was hurt by the end.
Then, like the karate scene and everything that builds up to that. So it's this horribly coercive relationship with Mayday. And I don't want to psychoanalyze Bond villains too much, but I genuinely think there is a degree of depth there in her character.
I think you're right, David. I mean, I will just take a moment just to say hi to Raheem on the chat from Facebook, and Carl. Thank you for joining us this evening. Who's also just made himself known. But Cole's also gone there saying that, Grace Jones is quite a wacky character in real life. And you'll see her in a character you saw in Halifax performing 2 years ago in 2024 in real life. I think when we spoke to Carol Ashby as well at the show in the Mockingbird, she commented how sort of, I don't know, not crazy, but she was evidently a Hollywooder. She had a presence about her, and that sort of thing. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yes, yeah. But I think her player Mayday is one, the woman's scorn. That's a real great redemption arc for her.
Yeah.
But she's also quite, like she even has sex with Bond because she's like, it's more like, why not? and all that sort of take. She's got softer edges, but she's not somebody that you want to mess with. And when she gets in bed with Bond as well, she almost gets on top of him. And overpowers him a little bit.
It's quite an uncomfortable scene in some ways because there's like zero chemistry in that room as well.
There's nothing, and you do see Bond's eyes go better than right.
You know the behind the scenes story from that scene, don't you? And I know we have to keep this family friendly because of my job, but you know what happened.
She had something with her, didn't she, in that scene?
So let's just put it this way: Grace Jones, when she took off her robe, was wearing a appendage.
I didn't know that.
They played a joke. Roger Moore famously played lots of practical jokes on the cast and crew, so they got one over on Roger.
Oh my god!
Literally, choosing my words very carefully. So Grace Jones,
please do.
wearing an attachment. Let's put it that way.
Oh my! Do you know what though? That fits into what we said about her being larger than life. I'm probably going to be careful those words as well.
She, I mean, I've seen her say since that she loved working with Roger Moore and she had a really good time on the film. But Roger Moore's view of that seems to be completely different. Like from what I've seen, Roger Moore really did not enjoy working with Grace Jones, and I think maybe some of that came from like noise from her trailer and things like that. But he just seemed to get rubbed up the wrong way by her.
Yeah. If I can bring you to the second Bond girl on that subject, Chris.
But you move past that. Yeah.
Let's carry on.
I'll bring you to the second Bond girl, Chris, as well, because obviously I think Mayday is definitely a very dominating character in this movie, and that's brilliant. Stacey gets, in my opinion, just a little bit overshadowed. She's a good character. She's a nice character. She's a total opposite to Mayday in every way. She's, and she's just nice. That's the way I'll put it. She's got a bit of fire about her. She's not just a little damsel that gets captured and Bond has to go into a lair and get her. She's not Honey Rider, that sort of thing. But she's definitely... she's just fair. Do you know what I mean? She's just a fair, nice, light character. And that's what I quite admire that in a way, really. She's not like a high-level secret agent or anything like that. She's somebody that actually calms the presence in the movie and stops it feeling a bit chaotic, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think another character where there's like a backstory behind the scenes about, it maybe not being the best experience there. But I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of Stacey Sutton. I don't find her a particularly interesting Bond girl.
She is gorgeous. There's no denying that.
She's beautiful.
She is stunning.
As they all are. But she's definitely not I find her a little bit weak, and I do think she goes missing a little bit in the third act.
I think in the Bond girl hierarchy, you would lose Stacey Sutton, to be honest, somewhere. You wouldn't think of her immediately,
Not my favourite, but she's fine. She's there she's a plot device, But
well, as
I feel awful now. I hope she's not watching, but no.
As Carol said in the chat,
the actresses,
yeah. I realised as soon as I said it, I'm going to start digging some holes, and I'm going to pass over to David.
Got really upset when Tanya Roberts passed away twice. So there was that whole thing like she's dead and then she wasn't dead, and that was a weird Christmas.
Was it 2021 she went? Was it?
It was during
that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I must admit, I have a soft spot for Bond girls who are scientists. So Christmas Jones also fits into this bracket. But I think that she also sort of fits into that category. She's a little bit archetypal, but she's kind of a little bit like Cara Malove in like Living Daylights as well, who I really like. She's like an ordinary person thrust into this world. But remember, she thrust herself into this world as well. I think that's what people forget. So she's unwilling to sell out of principle.
Yeah.
She is.
And that's why she ends up in danger. And she does. There's a great shot there. She looks fabulous while eating a quiche in her kitchen. I do like Stacey Sutton. I know she gets a lot of bad rep for screaming James a lot when the lift's on fire, and she does.
Yeah. To be honest with you, David, I think I'd be screaming at that point in a lift fire as well. But
like an ordinary person in this story, because so many. It's interesting you said calms the film down, because there are so many characters in this film who are so larger than life, and I always think we need someone who's a bit kind of more normal and on our level to ground it a little bit.
But you see Bond being quite humoured around her, like you said, making a quiche, fixing the connector box. She's lying on the bed. He puts the covers over her. It does create a softer edge to Bond's character.
It does, but the thing is, and this is what I always kind of resent James Bond being called a misogynist. And you can trace it through some of the films. Definitely, some of his behaviour is deeply questionable. It's not there in the books, by the way. It's just a kind of creation of the films, really.
Yeah.
But that scene where he actually puts Stacey to... I mean, what else is he going to do? Is he going to, like, sexually assault her? What do people think?
Clearly not. Yeah.
He's not going to take advantage of a vulnerable sleeping woman. Of course, he's going to end up doing the chivalrous thing and sit on the chair and have the cat fall asleep on his lap. You know, that's the kind of guy James Bond is.
Did any of us pick up on the white cat, the Blofeld reference, the cat?
Yeah. We actually have our youngest child, our 3 feline children. He's called Vesper, but her middle name is
awesome.
Middle name, by the way, are Stacey Sutton. So our daughter's name, our 5-year-old ragdoll cat, is called Vesper Stacey Sutton Lowbridge-Ellis.
I'm not even going to try and copy that, David, and say it yourself.
Our eldest cat, his middle name is Roger Moore. So that's how much we love this film.
That's amazing. I guess there's a couple of other like females in this movie, female characters. Like Pola Ivanova has a really great little scene that I love. I think that moment in the wooden jacuzzi is so, it's like quintessential.
Tchaikovsky.
Like, yeah.
I love that
great line. But yeah, like I love that scene. It feels so like cliche now, the seduction in the wooden jacuzzi. But it's an awesome scene, and I love that she just gets read like a book, and doesn't get away with the tape.
Can we also acknowledge it's the last appearance of Lois Maxwell as well?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's Moneypenny. That's she doesn't really go out in a bang. I'm not saying she should get blown up or anything, but there's no like wow facts. It just she passes on the next movie and that's it. It's a very, very silent swan song. Whether they even knew she'd be not in the next movie, I don't know. But
I like all of them go out to Ascot together at this point.
That was nice.
I always hate that idea that Bond is a lone wolf and all the rest of that. It's complete rubbish. Bond's always got some degree of family around him.
Yeah,
and
there's always an MI6 family, always.
Yeah.
Even I mean, I think they picked it up more in the Craig era, didn't they? Where they had Q became more out and about with Moneypenny and Tanner and everything. They felt more unified maybe than in previous incarnations of Bond. But yeah, he's not so much a loner. He operates in the field alone, but the bottom line is he's never on his own in terms of backup.
He really does in the Roger Moore movies, especially like the last 2 or 3 Roger Moore films. Q gets about, doesn't he? He's everywhere in these movies. He's
even running from the bad guys.
It's there even in the Connery movies. Doing our recent watch along for charity, we realised right from Thunderball, Q's in the field in the Bahamas, and then he's there again in Japan, and You Only Live Twice. So it's
yeah.
Q has racking up the air miles as well.
Do you know what? People underestimate the value of Q, and I think they said the line in the first slide. I won't spoil too much, but the bad guys basically anybody that's got this level of imagination is clearly dangerous, and that's a really good line for Q. You don't associate him being a dangerous man, but he's an absolute genius. That makes these gadgets and devices totally undervalued.
Yeah, he is. He is totally undervalued. And I mean, he's not in a massive amount of this movie, but I totally agree, David, that it's great when you see them out and about and supporting Bond on location. And it does give that family feel that he has that support network behind him. It's always great to see.
He arguably has the greatest line in the film as well, which always makes my husband and me laugh.
Which was?
Probably unintentionally funny, where they're talking about microchips in the briefing, and Q references you find microchips even in the modern toaster. So my husband and me can't walk past a toaster or talk about a toaster without quoting that line.
It's amazing.
I do like his little recon dog, remote control dog he's got as well. That's particularly cute.
That's his whole. That's his whole purpose in this movie, is to drive that dog around. It's a really gadget light movie as well. Like that feels like the only piece of technology in this film is that
it does have
robot dog.
He has the credit card that can open that wooden window as well.
Yeah,
he has the glasses, the X-ray glasses, and everything. But they don't necessarily. You don't go to QLab and he ends them out. They're just there, aren't they? They're just prominent straight away.
They are. So I guess let's talk a little bit about the pre-title sequence, because I want to get on to the pre-title sequence and the song. But really, really enjoy this beginning. I think it's so action-packed and hilarious. Really cheesy as well, though. The California Girls moment is jarring to some. But I love it. I think it's a really great scene, and it's beautifully shot as well. Like there's so many scenes in John Glenn's Bond movies that look beautiful, and this one's no different.
No, I completely agree. It's a very strong pre-title sequence. Moore's been very good in the ski sequences. Good to see him do a bit of snowboarding this time as well. Even if we do have a bit of Pet Shop Boys playing as a little OST. But it's fun. It's engaging. I didn't realise actually that in all times I've seen A View to a Kill, I didn't realise that Max Zorin made reference to that to Gogol when they met at the racecourse. And he said when the British infiltrated the Siberian base, I never put two and two together until my recent playthrough that they were referring to that moment where they killed, is it 003 that was killed before Bond went there?
I think it was 003 that they got the microchip from, wasn't it?
I think it was. But yeah, just that little line was noted. And then we're accompanied by the action with that best soundtrack ever, haven't we? There, don do 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 do. That's so really embracing. This film. So it's a fun, engaging, really great action sequence. We know Roger Moore, he wasn't doing half the stunts.
I was going to say there's some really obvious body doubling in that scene.
But who the hell cares? Great opening.
I really like that it starts really small, and the connection with the Zorin is just because of what they find on the microchip. And the line from I think the Defense Minister, he's a native French industrialist, and that's also a line that's probably unintentionally hilarious just for me and my husband. But for some reason that always makes us laugh. But it's very Fleming, even though this story basically has nothing to do with Fleming except it being a sort of retread of the plot of Moonraker. So it has no bearing on any of the Fleming books whatsoever, really. The idea that you start with something really small and it grows into this massive story, and it's there in most of the Bond stories, but I think it works particularly well in this one.
I agree with that.
I saw somebody who called this movie Goldfinger with microchips as well.
The script is incredibly similar to Goldfinger in some places.
Yeah. We're just getting a bit of on the chat from at 97 Tamas, who's just given us a nice little clover leaf. So I'm assuming they're agreeing with you, David, on your points there. So
I'll take that as an agreement.
Can we move on to the song now as well? Because
come on, brilliant song.
Go for it, Mike. Go on.
Brilliant song. This is definitely. It might not be my top 10 Bond film, but it's my top 10 Bond theme. I love A View to a Kill. I think it's brilliant. There's nothing more to say. It's so 80s. It's so nostalgic. It's engraved in my brain. It is an absolute gold tier Bond theme for me. Short and sweet, Chris.
Yeah, it was one of the most successful as well. And even though I think it was I'm not a pop music expert, but I think it was supposedly towards the end of Duran Duran's career. So it was like one of their last big hits, I believe. So yeah, it is. I remember when I first saw this movie on TV when I was actually around my grandparents' house for the night. And the song was the thing that I just couldn't get out of my head for days afterwards. It is a really, really great song, and the title sequence.
Striking.
I think a lot of Bond fans are going to hate me for this, but I think Maurice Binder's title sequences sometimes are more creative than others. And I think actually the Timothy Dalton ones, even though they're some of my favorite Bond films, they're some of the weakest title sequences. I think this is Maurice Binder's last great title sequence.
I'd like to think that sometimes that I feel like they saw the success of A View to a Kill as in a song, and then they used that sort of theme to go forward with the Living Daylights, because they are fairly similar toned.
And John Barry enjoyed working with Duran Duran, unlike Aha.
Well, creative differences.
John Barry went on the record as saying he absolutely despised working with Aha, and I can't help but think that they're one of the reasons why he never came back to Bond. But
oh God, well, that's some inside knowledge there, isn't
it? Maybe. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree as well. I love this song. I think it's brilliant. And it's a step up from I'm not a huge fan of the last couple of Bond themes before this. I didn't love Octopussy, and it felt like this was a real return to form with Bond themes as well. And they feed it so well into the score of the movie as well. The main beats from this song play really well in some of the incidental music that we hear throughout the rest of the movie. So I can't say enough good things about Duran Duran and this song.
I will say one thing there, though, Chris, that you've just mentioned. So when I was very young, I struggled to hear the beats, where it blends in, how it's just A View to a Kill. But in recent years, my brain just went, yeah, piece it together, I've got it. But I struggled for such a long time to find the beats in that song, other than it was a great backing track.
Yeah. No, it really is. I think it's great. And I guess we can move to some of the other action set pieces, and you've got it on screen right here. I think this might be my favorite moment in the movie, is the chase up the Eiffel Tower with Bond and Mayday. And I just think it's such an inventive scene. I love the parachute sequence afterwards, and then it feeds into the taxi chase as well, which is amazing. There's so much, that 10 minutes of that movie is so tight and well shot. I love it.
It's so fun, though, isn't it? That sequence, that she's jumping and base jumping off the Eiffel Tower, and meanwhile he does his own route rather than just, I'll run down the stairs. I'll just jump on the elevator, literally on the elevator, and then nick a taxi. It's so Roger Moore. I love it. I'm so. I think we said before, Chris, in our reviews, the best action sequences are the ones that really bring a smile to your face, isn't it? Like, it doesn't matter if it's larger than life or whatever. This one definitely brings a smile to my face when I watch it. Yeah,
it's so dumb as well in so many ways. Like the driving of half a car, you just sit there and laugh.
But you don't care.
Fun to watch. No,
but you just don't care.
Yeah. I went to an event in Chantilly. All the European fan clubs clubbed together, and we had a massive event at Chantilly, which is where Zorin Chateau is. That's where they filmed it, and we also then, a few of us spent the next day in Paris. But they had all these cars from the movie and just Bond cars, Aston Martins and everything. The car that everybody wanted to photograph with was the taxi from A View to a Kill. Even the person who played the taxi driver there as well, saying,
"Which half?"
And holding a glass of red wine. It was
That's
brilliant.
So cool.
And that also ends with my husband's favourite moment in any Bond film, which is Roger jumps off the bridge and lands on the wedding cake.
Into the cake, yeah. You also like I love how he's manhandled by chefs at the end, take him off the boat as well. That was quite amusing.
In the deleted scene, I presume, on the DVD, where M has to extricate him from the police station.
Yes. I remember this.
French authorities for causing so much destruction.
It's the deleted scene. I think there was so many references. It was like they found they found Red Grant's watch on Bond, and he's like, the policeman hands it back to him, and it just goes, "Yeah, that's from Russia. Puts in his pocket from love." And it's little bits like that. This has some great deleted scenes. We should look at these again one day, Chris.
I've not seen any of these deleted scenes. I think I need to go and watch them.
Some of the deleted scenes we should revisit on a podcast one day. I think.
We should.
From there, but can I just take you to one of your other action sequences that was amazing as well?
Please do.
It's quite short, but it's the horse race before we find what's happened to Tibbet. And the chase is treated again, like we were saying about a shift in tone. It's treated very seriously. I think the tension of it. Bond's even twigging at the beginning, isn't he? He's like, "Friends of yours." And it's like, oh yeah, they like to ride and feel like they're around other people. It's more realistic or something like that.
Was they want to ride together. It's better for training, isn't it?
And the fact that Bond actually beats him at the race, then that's when Zorin has to cheat to get him back, doesn't he? I think it's an incredibly good sequence. Very, very dramatic.
And it's quite a grounded sequence as well, unlike the taxi chase. And the whole time you're watching it, there is that really kind of dark tension, which obviously pays off when they find a bit dead in the back of the Rolls Royce.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, I do too. And I'd said before that's one of my favourite scenes is that moment of James Bond finding Tibbet in the back of the Rolls. But the build up, you're right, the tension, it really does build up, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And I also feel that Bond clearly knows that he's been found out very early on in that, but he just commits, and as he always does,
like a pro. Yeah,
exactly, like a pro, exactly that. So yeah, no, I totally agree. I think all of that sort of 20 minutes of the movie on the estate, all of that has kind of this undercurrent of tension, really, and I think that's the moment it pays off.
I think that one of my favourite moments actually on the estate is the pre-recorded voice tape he puts on. And I just visualise him and Sir Godfrey Tibbet spending about a day in the recording studio making this tape up. And that brings another smile to my face as well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, they've obviously had to spend the time doing that to get it there.
Yeah, and they don't play around with that one. And it was Jenny Flex, wasn't it? It's like, oh, Jenny Flex. Of course you are.
I have a soft spot for Jenny Flex as well.
I like
Alison
Jenny
Doody
Flex.
was a
Let's
big
not talk about
childhood
your
crush for
soft
me.
spot on a podcast.
Yeah, let's not do that. I've done far too many holes in this podcast. Let's not
family friendly.
Yeah, Alison
Lads,
Doody, love her. So I'm going to try and steer this towards the ending.
Go for it.
So let's do that. There's two main scenes at the end, really. There's the clearing out of the underground throughout, the planting of the bombs, the removal, and then the blimp chase at the end. So who wants to go first, talking about this ending?
Guests first. Go for it, David.
I think it's a sensationally violent ending, which I know that Roger Moore had qualms about. He really didn't like the kind of machine gunning. But I think it does sort of, even though ultimately we know James Bond will save the day, I think it adds some real menace. I think most Bond films actually, perhaps not controversially, perhaps so, actually fall apart in their third act. View to a Kill, for me, actually has one of the strongest third acts of any Bond movie. I think it does build and build and build. And particularly when Zorin bombs the mine, I think it introduces some real jeopardy. Yes, it's ridiculous that Stacey ends up being kidnapped by blimp. I mean, how the hell would you go about really doing that in real life? James, there's a blimp behind you. Can't you hear it? I don't think they're that quiet. So it does strain credulity there. But there's so much in that finale, which is actually quite nasty. And you really do want to save the day. And especially the sadism with which Zorin keeps thwacking him on various buildings. I think it's actually one of the best Bond finales.
I agree. It does flourish in its third act, actually. Yes, I can see that. And I think that's more noticeable where the tone shifts to being quite dark and dangerous at the end. Maybe that's how they wanted to round the Moore era off, possibly, and send him off with those serious tones. Even the moment, where the bombs explode and the San Andreas fault floods and that guy is on the fishing boat. Even I know it's still a little bit comical, but you're more like distraught rather than laughing your head off, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. And I think the both of the scenes are like you say, are so dark and so nasty. It's a really good word to describe it. And I love the moment of Mayday's redemption as well. Finally, she gets that one face-to-face moment with Zorin, doesn't she?
Get Zorin for me.
It's awesome. It's a brilliant moment. I think there's a couple of really good bits of levity as well just before that starts when Bond and Stacey make it onto the mining site, in the fire engine, and there's that great moment where she gets into her uniform and he says that P, you couldn't find one that fits, and the backstory behind
they're taking over the Teamsters.
Exactly.
I do like that line.
love that moment because Bond is almost playing on the misogyny of
Yeah.
people who working at the mine. So a lot of times people, and I know we've got Moonraker where Bond is the figure of fun, where he goes, a woman, good head, famously. But actually here, and this is only a few, like 6 years later, Bond is like parodying the people who would have those attitudes.
That's a great point.
Yeah. One line that is really good is, when they're in the mine carts going into the mine, and you got Stacey going, "Do you know what I'm sitting on?" And he's like, "I'm trying not to think about it."
I'm on the mission.
Yeah, it was that, but that was the same sort of the way that they looked after the humour was still quite grounded. I liked that approach, but it was still Bond thinking, "I'm trying to stay on the mission here,"
It's just. It's so much fun, and it obviously ending on the Golden Gate Bridge as well is incredibly dumb as well. But I love the way it finishes, and it's such a great moment seeing that on screen. Roger Moore and Stacey sort of falling out and sort of hanging off of the top of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a brilliant final action sequence.
For me, I think so. I don't know if you've seen things like. Saboteur, which is, I always get Saboteur and Sabotage mixed up, but one of the two, where it ends on the Statue of Liberty, and then you've got North by Northwest, which ends on Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
It's like take a landmark, and we've got the Eiffel Tower earlier in this film as well. So this is a film with two major action set pieces on a internationally famous, cut to a shot of San Francisco, and you have the Golden Gate Bridge establishing it. Cut to a shot of Paris, the Eiffel Tower. You don't get much more iconic than that. And I think that's a really bold choice because you don't get that very often in Bond films.
You don't actually, but I think to use that creates that sort of, I don't know, that sort of that block in your head as well. I mean, so one of the things I remember was because I started playing this game, the GTA San Andreas game. One of the cities in that game was San Francisco, and the moment I drove across the bridge for the first time, in my head went straight to A View to a Kill. Just because it was linked to it, and
apparently San Francisco was like they were so overly really gracious and and helpful to them that I wouldn't even be surprised if this wasn't a part of the script at the start, but they just realized how much freedom they had in San Francisco to film that they might as well sort of move stuff around and make this the ending.
Yeah, it is, but it's a very strong ending. Back to the Golden Gate, which is a very strong ending, though. I think one of the best villain confrontations we've got in Bond because it's not over in a heartbeat. There is high stakes, and like you said, David, Bond's going to win at the end because it's a Bond film, but you want to know how he's going to win.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Can I also say, for another moment of fun, the little moment of the fisherman. After all the water's gone, when he just looks around, it's total silence, and they don't do anything with it. He just looks around, and all the water's gone. It's such a great moment.
Handled a bit more sensitively than the guy with the wine bottle in the 3 More films, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So
it kind of had that same feel, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But no, all in all, a really fun outing for Moore, and maybe a better swan song than people give it credit for.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we wrap up, is there any part of anything in the movie that we haven't talked about that you wanted to bring up?
I think I've got it on my notes, but have you got anything, David?
No, I don't think. I mean, I could literally talk about this movie all day. So please don't give me carte blanche.
Fair enough. One thing that we tend to do is before we finish, we mention our favorite line from the movie. So. I don't know if you I'll give you a moment to think about it, perhaps, David. But Mike, what have you got as your favorite line from this film?
Oh, this is one that always stays with me. We mentioned it earlier, so I'll bring it up again. It's tickles my Tchaikovsky.
It's great.
It's a great moment. Oh God, there's so many to choose from. Chris, you got to go first.
I'll do it for you. Right. So mine is it feels like an iconic line. It's General Gogol saying, "No one ever leaves the KGB."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a classic.
Deadly line. I like that. Yeah.
I kind of love the mini monologue from Max Zorin about intuitive improvisation. But I love that whole thing. But it's not just a line. So I'm going to have to go with, and again, I'm choosing my words carefully here. But Jenny Fleck saying, "Yes, I love an early morning ride." The reason I love that line is because, and bless her, I've also had the pleasure of meeting Alison Doody, who's the loveliest person in real life.
Isn't she?
But she's like, it was one of her very first roles, and it's almost like I almost feel like she's like, she doesn't really know what she's saying with that line. It's almost quite innocent. And then Bond knows exactly what he's saying. Well, I'm an early riser myself. It's just almost thrown out. The line is like thrown away in the film. They don't make a big thing of it, and that's why.
Do you know what I like? I like the ad-lib moment after that line, David, where he goes to Tibbet, "Stop wheezing."
Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. That was brilliant. I've loved this film so much. Now, David, we try to score our movies, and these are scores
we apologise
on Bond movies as well. We don't actually think, some of these movies are 6s or whatever out of 10, but just in like the pantheon of Bond films, we try and rank them with a score out of 10. So I'm going to come to you first.
Okay.
I've just give me a score out of 10.
Forever. I
knew you were going to say this for Diamonds Are Forever.
That's what I'm saying. We do apologise.
So we'll never speak to you again, I assume.
Just for reference, David, you don't have to go with solid numbers. You can do 6.7, 8.2. You can go totally in between.
Okay. So I think I've got to be honest and say, because it is one of my probably top 3 most watched Bond movies, I'm going to have to go with at least a 7.7. In fact, let's go higher. So let's reference the year. Let's go in 8.5.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Solid. All right, fair enough. Chris, do you dare to convene with that one? Go for it.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm not going to go quite as high as that, but I think the 7.7 is a great shout. I'd got 7.6 written down, so I'm sticking with that.
Okay, and look, I said to you at the beginning of the show, you'll be quite surprised with my score, because I would expect, Chris, you thought I might have gone quite low, but as I mentioned, this film's been revisited for me, so there's definitely a renowned love for it, and you've got to bear in mind that what I'm scoring it is what's also on the board. I'm also using that as a comparison, so I'm going to go directly in the middle. I'm going to go and give it a nice 8.1.
Well, one thing you'll learn, David, is that what Mike does is he waits for me to give a score, and then he always gives a score that's like 1 or 2 points higher than what I've given. So I need to stop asking him to give scores after me.
I should go first then, right? There we go then, yeah.
But no, it's been brilliant. Thank you for joining us today, David. It's been brilliant fun having you. I think we'll wrap it up there. Like, before you go, is there anything that you want to plug or talk about?
What's on your horizon? If you've never seen my online stuff, just Google Licensed to Queer and it's the thing that pops up. I mostly post stuff on Instagram. There is obviously the website that goes with it, licensedqueer.com, where all the long form articles and stuff are. But I try to do several posts a week on Instagram as well. I am still on X or Twitter or whatever we want to call it. I do put stuff sporadically on YouTube. The podcast I haven't done for a little while, but that kind of comes in bursts as well. So yeah, most of my stuff you can just find by typing in license, the British spelling, with 2 C's, Licensed to Queer online, and you'll find me there.
And are you attending the Q Music event? Are you in London in November?
I can't make that one. Unfortunately, they put a lot of their events on Sunday, which isn't great for me because I have a full-time job that you can't book time off for. So getting from London to back home about 3 hours away from Monday morning is never great for me. So no, I won't be there, but I will be in that weekend. As we haven't released details of it yet, but I'm also vice president of the James Bond fan club here in the UK. So I will be involved with lots of things that weekend. Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to reconnecting hopefully at some point then.
Oh, well, I'm really looking forward to the new operation that's coming from the James Bond fan club as well. At Q, is it Q Lab that's going to be at?
Yeah, have you guys been to that yet?
No, I actually haven't.
No, never. No, we've been considering going to it though. For this.
So yeah, you won't quite believe what's there in terms of the amount of vehicles, including screen use things, not just cars. They've got helicopters and all sorts. It's an.
I've seen the pictures. It looks great. I
got a little bit emotional sitting in the car from The Living Daylights with the skis. It's really great. There
Right,
are
you have to.
people who are interested in their James Bond fan club members, or they know someone who is, because you're allowed to buy a +1. You can. There are a very small. I think there's like a dozen tickets left for that. So if people are interested, they can go.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's great news. Mike, anything from you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say thank you to all our guys watching us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. As always, we're really grateful for your support. If you're not on one of the platforms, please go to the other. Find us at the Ultimate Bondcast and follow us, like us, subscribe to us, whatever you can do, because we just love talking to you guys about all things James Bond. And keep doing more of the same for us.
Nice one. Thank you, Mike. And then I guess all that I would say is we also are on Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, please do that as well. But yeah, we're just grateful for any support, and we still love doing this.
Social media whores, aren't we? Yeah,
we try to be. We try to be. It's probably the same 100 people on all of the platforms, but it's
we'll take that though. We'll take that. They all add up.
So yeah, thanks a lot for joining us today, David. Hopefully you'll pop back again sometime.
Yeah, lovely.
But yeah, thank you all, and it just leaves me to say you've been watching the Bondcast,
the Ultimate Bondcast.